This is the President of the Republic of South Africa. The same president who raised his hands at the Union buildings and swore to uphold the Constitution and all other law of the Republic. It is very clear here that the president stands accused of violating a number of these laws, which he has now, which he had sworn to uphold and which he has now gone silent on. The longer the silence continues, the more damage is being done to the South African economy, both locally and internationally. The President had a lot to say about all these businesses that are waiting to invest in South Africa, and one wonders what they must see when flashed on the CNN and BBC channels is a president and head of state with piles of currency that is not his own country's currency and furniture at his farm. So in light of that, we have decided that the president may well try and stay silent, but as the opposition, it's our duty not to stay silent. And like we pursued Mr. Zuma, and like people within the ANC pursued Mr. Zuma, and like Parliament pursued Mr. Zuma, we need to make sure that that pressure is kept up. And as Cyril has said, just because Mr. Ramaphosa may be the preferred person in the ANC for people, if we look back at first principles, it shouldn't matter who the President of the Republic of South Africa is. The law must apply to them equally. They must be above reproach, and they must stick to the values and principles and the oath of office that they took and swore to uphold. So in light of that, these 9 steps have been taken. Some of them are parliamentary action steps. Some of them will be steps that involve outside agencies. And the first one I can announce is that I've written to the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, to request that they investigate allegations of possible money laundering by the President. Specifically, we've requested that the FBI considers investigating the source of the funds and whether the money was brought into South Africa legitimately and declared to the appropriate authorities. We've also recommended that the ledgers or journals which recorded the alleged sale of wild game at an auction be requested from the President to determine the identities of those involved in the suspicious cash transactions. A cash transaction within South Africa involving $4 million is deeply suspicious, and more so that since then that the cash was allegedly stashed in furniture, and its theft investigated off the record and subsequently covered up. We have also written to, the 5th step that we've taken is written to Advocate Koleka Kataleka, the Acting Public Protector, to lay a formal complaint in terms of the Executive Members Ethics Act and to request her to investigate the alleged breaches of the Executive Ethics Code. President Ramaphosa may have breached the code by failing to report the theft, which he was by law obliged to do so, and by using public resources, specifically the VIP Protection Unit, within the SAPS to track down and bring back the stolen private dollars. We've also written to the National Police Commissioner, Fanny Masemola, asking him the following questions. 1. Why was the Major General Wally Rueda sent to Namibia? Why was no formal case opened? Why was the theft covered up? And what did the investigation cost the taxpayers through public expenditure on what was essentially a recouping of the private dollars of the President? It's now becoming increasingly clear why President Ramaphosa has been so reluctant and so slow to remove many of the bad eggs from his cabinet and other key institutions of state. He's been trying to keep the so-called Smolenyana skeletons from tumbling out of his own closet. The saga lays bare the fact that the ANC is rotten from the head down, and even as it takes its dying breaths, decomposition has already set in. I think that the longer the President stays silent on this thing, I think the more people are going to call on him to step aside. We're not calling on him to step aside yet. We're saying to him, we want to give you the benefit of the doubt. Come clean. Tell us your side of the story. If you have indeed broken these laws, well, then you must be subjected to the same punishment as any other ordinary citizen. But for heaven's sake, you can't stay silent on this matter. Because the longer he stays silent, the more this thing is going to infect and poison the body politic. We've already seen the damage it's done in Parliament, with Parliament now returning back to the future with the Nkandla days, with the president being prevented from speaking, the parliamentary protection services forcefully ejecting members of parliament, members of the opposition being stifled from being able to exercise oversight and accountability on the president. And so if he continues to stifle the body politic and continues to infect the body politic through his abject silence, then I think those calls for him to go or to step aside are going to grow. I think that the right thing for the president to do is to take us into his confidence and give us his side of the story, and then let Parliament and the various other institutions in South Africa make the decision about whether he should be impeached, whether there should be a motion of no confidence in him, whether he should face the might of the law.